And we are live. Hello, welcome to a brand new episode of Cinema Savvy News. I'm Chris Garner, joined with Tate in the Hour, and unfortunately, again, no George for tonight. However, he has given us a plan to work through tonight, and we've had D23 go on, we've got Comic-Con coming soon. So this week's actually a particularly light week for movie news, so I think we're going to be able to rattle through it quickly. How are you doing tonight, Tate?
I'm doing okay. I genuinely think this week's news in film was pretty dull. I'm not going to lie. There wasn't really much going on other than D23 and Comic-Con news. So we've only really got, not many pieces. A lot of trailers outside of Comic-Con. So people are obviously wanting to get it in at the same time as all of these other trailers. People are more interested in watching trailers. They watch them back to back on YouTube playlists and stuff like that. So bring them out at the same time as other trailers is a good trait to do nowadays.
Yeah.
Because trailers don't really compete that much as far as viewership and awareness. So I guess the first piece of news is we did a D23 special. I wasn't on it personally, but that's to do with the Disney 23 conference. Where is that conference taking place? Is it?
Oh God! Now you've asked me something. I don't know. I don't know my US geography, so I'd have to Google that. But yeah, no, you can find our video. You can find our video for that on our channel. It's one of the last couple of videos we did. It's a really great episode. We talked through everything that was announced at D23, apart from the actual trailers and clips that were shown, because they don't get leaked at all, and we didn't really want to talk about other people's reviews on those. We should also say for today, we're not commenting on anything Comic-Con related. We will have a special Comic-Con video for that on Monday, similar to how we did D23. So you won't hear about any of the wealth of trailers that came out at Comic-Con today. Those we'll be talking about on Monday. So shall we jump straight into the news for today then?
Yeah, sure, go for it. Oh, do you want me to go?
Okay, so yeah, you go on.
This week we've had a few sad passings in the film world. First of all, we have George A. Romero passing away at the age of 77 with a brief battle with lung cancer. Most famous for Night of the Living Dead, one of the, if not the, zombie film to watch. It's the film which has influenced almost every single horror film to this day. Everyone takes a little bit of Romero in that respect. Truly great director of his time. He also worked on TV shows, I believe, later on in his career. I'm not sure outside of his other filmography off the top of my head, but what I do know is I remember being younger and watching Night of the Living Dead and being truly terrified. So it's really sad to see a passing of that sort, especially for such an iconic director for the iconic films that he made.
Yeah, I was going to say he's an absolute pioneer in the horror genre. There were many of those zombie films that came out, but I think people always trace it back to Night of the Living Dead as probably one of the best. Definitely one of the most groundbreaking films in that genre. I mean, look where we are today with how many zombie things that we came out. I definitely think you can pinpoint it to that original movie. One of my favorite movies that he directed as well was Creepshow, which I watched at a very young age at my uncle's on VHS, and that thing gave me nightmares for about a month afterwards. Watching it again now, it's very tongue-in-cheek, it's very funny, but at that age, you know, the horror factor was real. So it's really sad to see him go. And a lot of people I saw on my own Facebook, they were big, George A. Romero fans, big zombie fans. They were absolutely gutted to hear that he died. And another celebrity passing, we had Martin Landau as well. Now, Landau, outside of a couple of films, I wasn't really familiar with his career. Apparently, he just died of complications. He was 89. He started off in TV. Apparently, he won a lot of Emmy Awards for Mission Impossible, the TV series. And he has been pretty much nominated and won countless Best Supporting Actor roles at the Academy Awards, most famously winning the award for playing Bela Lugosi in Tim Burton's Ed Wood, which is a film I've seen, and he was phenomenal. He disappeared into that role, so that was absolutely a worthy win for that. He was also in one of Woody Allen's films, Crimes and Misdemeanors, which actually I'm a huge Woody Allen fan, but that's one of his movies that I haven't seen yet. But for me, as a kid, one of the films that I grown up, and this is kind of embarrassing to admit this one. The Adventures of Pinocchio, which was a live action adaptation of Pinocchio, which was a film I had on VHS. I still have it somewhere. I used to watch that film again and again and again. It's one that most people aren't aware of. He played Geppetto in that film. So that's the role for me. Although it's undoubtedly from his career, it's probably not one of his best. It might even be his worst. But I have a lot of fond memories of that movie. So it's sad to see another great talent like his go.
I actually never, I'd heard of the name of the actor before, but I'd never seen any of his films, any of his work. But it's still sad to see like another person who was key to film and TV just passing on. It's quite sad.
Yeah.
Do you want to move on to the next piece of news?
Yeah, it's always really awkward when we have to segue from news like that into the regular movie news, but we did want to talk about it nonetheless. Yeah, so next bit of movie news.
Go on, Chris.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the whole Queen, as in the band biopic that's been talked about for many, many years now, it's had a very troubled production. Originally, Sacha Baron Cohen was tied to play the role of Freddie Mercury. I remember that, and he was really passionate about that, but it was creative differences between him and the rest of the band members. He wanted to make it a very serious film, really go into all the ins and outs of Freddie Mercury's career, even the dark stuff. But it seems like Brian May and the rest of the band want to go for a more light-hearted tone. But they have now officially confirmed who is playing Freddie Mercury for the biopic, which is Rami Malek, who is an actor I have never heard of before, but apparently, Tate, you have. You've seen him in something before.
Yes, he was part of the TV series Mr. Robot. I saw half the series of Mr. Robot. Didn't think that his performance was bad, but I got bored of the TV series pretty quick. I hear it's an okay TV series if you get into it, but then again, at the same time, there were loads of TV series where people say, oh, it's actually okay if you get into it, and really they're not that good when you actually get into it, looking at you Walking Dead. So this one, it frustrates me purely because I want a serious Queen film. Be awesome to get like a off-the-wall kind of magical Queen film, which is really bright and colorful and stuff like that, but like I feel like I would have seen that film with different bands, or like you could interchange them with different bands. I know Queen's completely off the charts as far as bands are concerned, but if I think back to kind of a colorful rendition of a film, the Beatles Yellow Submarine film, Bee Gees Saturday Night Fever, really you could even substitute in there, films with music used. But I like the sound of a Sacha Baron Cohen doing a serious role and going into the real dark stuff about Freddie Mercury as a character, because sure, he was quite a fun guy in person, but he did have a lot of dark things happen in his life, and that would have been a brilliant film to watch for sure. Now it could come off as tacky. And that is concerning. And I'd rather see at least an attempt at a gritty film to look into the undering of the character of the person. Probably going to get some tacky film, which, could be straight to TV. Who knows?
Yeah, I agree. And even if you look at Sacha Baron Cohen, like his actual appearance, I could absolutely see him playing Freddie Mercury and disappearing into that role. Who knows? If he had have gone with a dark tone, maybe he could have got an Oscar nod. Who knows how that could have transpired?
He probably would have. I mean, people see him as this comedical actor for sure, but the character work that he does do sometimes is phenomenal.
Oh, he's a great serious actor. He really is. He can be.
The worst film, one of the worst films last year was Grimsby. And that's one of his I'm going to be a dumb character roles. And yeah, at the same time, he can pull off an equally like a phenomenal, like actual role. Like he is a really good actor. You just need to give him the right material. And this probably would have been the right material. He could have completely become Freddie Mercury in this. Like scarily, he could have become Freddie Mercury in this. But yeah, they wanted something lighthearted, and he wanted to go the darker route. Who knows? Maybe they get the rights to the film. Someone may pick him up for that.
Yeah, I don't really know who holds the rights, and then I don't know if it's got to go
Queen.
through the band thing.
Probably has to go through.
Maybe. But yeah, so that's all the news for that. So moving on to Warner Brothers and DC news. Not actually that much superhero news this week, which is a first, but nevertheless, we still have some. Warner Brothers have confirmed 2 DC film slates for 2020. They're yet unannounced as to what they're going to be. There's an announcement expected at Comic-Con, so if there is, we'll be talking about that on Monday. You were kind of brainstorming as to which 2 films you think it could be. I think that Wonder Woman 2 is pretty much a guarantee at this point due to the overwhelming positive reception from that film.
And I think it's going to be The Flash.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised they didn't put it in the starting lineup for DC films, because The Flash at the moment, as far as a TV series, is very popular and it's very fresh in people's minds. And before the TV series starts to slowly diminish like Arrow has, they'd want to jump on that bandwagon and keep it fresh in people's minds so that people of the TV series will go over and watch it, and casual movie fans will go over and watch it as well.
Flash movie was meant to be coming out next year, but
and it's been pushed back and pushed back.
It's a project where about 3 or 4 directors have been attached and announced and all dropped out. Apparently it was getting a page 1 rewrite. I've seen that Robert Zemeckis might be tied into directing it now. I don't know if that was confirmed or it was heavily rumored though. So it seems like it's a bit of a mess at the moment, which again, I don't understand why. Take the best story of the Flash, maybe not a Flashpoint Paradox yet. Don't do that one.
Well, here's the thing. Flashpoint opens up the entire DC universe to multiple like lines of time that they can use.
Yeah.
So
I would build up to that though. I wouldn't just immediately open with that for Flash's
you reckon they'd open up
movie.
with Reverse Flash or Gorilla Grodd or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we'll get Gorilla Grodd at some point. I think hopefully that would be amazing if we see that on the big screen. I mean, the TV show's done
Andy Serkis playing Gorilla Grodd. Oof.
Oh hell yes! Can you imagine? But no, I think it'll be Reverse Flash.
Together, strong.
But yeah, no, I think it's going to be Wonder Woman 2, and I'd be very surprised if it isn't The Flash. But as we said, I'm sure we'll get an announcement soon. It could even be Justice League 2, because I know that they originally wanted to do a 2-parter, didn't they? So we'll see what goes with that. Moving on to the next bit of news. You want? Sorry,
is Superman back in that one? Because I believe they're definitely bringing back for Justice League. That's no secret right there. So when does he die? When does he die? He's been killed by Doomsday. Who else kills him in the comics?
Oh God, I don't know. That wasn't my answer, by the way. Although I'm sure God probably could kill Superman.
Maybe like.
He's probably died loads in the comics. He's probably died again and again and again in different ones.
Batman has, let's just say that, but not as much as Batman's Robins. They have a habit of fun. But anyway, next news. Aubrey Plaza of Parks and Rec's fame wants to play Catwoman in Gotham City Sirens. I do not agree with this. I'm going to put my foot down and say no. Please don't cast her as Catwoman. She might have that kind of gothic look, but I feel like she would take that character in an Enchantress direction. I just don't want that from a Catwoman. Catwoman, as far as the DC villains, is the one that kind of walks the line, closest to being friend or maybe even enemy, maybe even lover. So in that case, we're looking for someone who will walk that line, not someone who looks, and I know this is bad for saying this, but looks like an emo goth kind of styled character, and would definitely be kind of in that kind of zone of character. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of Catwoman. Me too. I've never really seen Aubrey Plaza in anything of note before. For me personally, I've seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World, but although I've seen that movie twice, I can't really pinpoint her character.
She's the person with the swearing bars that go across her face.
Yeah, I vaguely remember. I'm going to have to give that movie a watch now, especially considering I've seen Baby Driver. Maybe, who knows, I might have a different opinion on that film now. But I agree, it's not the right casting for Catwoman. You want someone with a lot more grit. It depends how they're writing the character there, and it depends of the tone that they're going with Gotham City Sirens. If they are sticking with a very sort of...
I want to throw a hat into the ring. I want to throw the hat in of Haley Steinfeld.
I guess so. I think she'd be better than Aubrey Plaza. But as I said, it depends on what tone they're going to go with for Gotham City Sirens. This is only rumor at the minute, and I don't think it's going to happen. But I remember that, like Megan Fox was rumored to be playing Poison Ivy, which would be the worst thing to happen.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Do you want this franchise to crash and burn? When was the last time that she was relevant? Jesus.
Probably, can you even say she was relevant for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
No, definitely not.
Jennifer's Body, maybe? That was a whole thing when that movie came out. Other than that, it's probably the Transformers films. The point is, if they're going with like the music video kind of style that Suicide Squad has, then I guess this casting fits. If they want something more grounded now, something a bit more serious, and I'm not talking like serious and like really pretentious and miserable and depressing and everything like that. I mean, they want to take these characters serious and actually make them like their comic book counterparts. I'd like to see Eva Green in this role. Now, maybe that's just my fan fiction-y casting because Eva Green is one of my favorite women in Hollywood.
I see that working. I see that working.
But she can do the gothic look. She's got that purring voice.
She's also slightly older, which is what Ben Affleck's Batman is. Yeah. So I feel like all the characters will be slightly older in that sense.
Eva Green's about 37, and I can't remember how old Affleck is.
I will find out.
Is he in his early 40s, mid 40s? I can't remember how old he is. But I could absolutely see she has played a badass 44. Before. If we look,
no way, he has the same birthday as me. But anyway,
with Eva Green, for example, I know this isn't even news, but now I'm really behind this casting of Catwoman. She has played a badass before, in like 300 Rise of an Empire. She's been in the Bond movie. I think she could absolutely do it. Maybe I should write a letter to Warner Brothers, a very nicely worded letter, please asking them to get Eva Green as Catwoman. But that's not the news anyway. Aubrey Plaza has just said she wants to play her.
Who would you put in as Poison Ivy then? Because you have to have a redhead. You have to have a redhead.
Well, someone could dye their hair. Someone could dye their hair. It's not out of the question. I'd have to give that one a bit more thought because you want someone who's sultry and can play that character well, have that really enigmatic, mysterious quality to them. Have a character who can bring that almost...
what's her name? Person who's married to Sacha Baron Cohen. Oh my God, what is her name? Wait a sec. Wait a sec. Isla Fisher.
What's she been in? Remind me.
Now You See Me. Wait a sec. Let's find out what she's been in.
We're getting off a tangent here, though. This is just sort of us casting our own movie.
Isla Fisher has been in Rango. She was in Home and Away, Wedding Crashers. I'll send you her IMDb, Chris, and you can decide after that.
I shall peruse that after the show. No funny business.
News. So, Robotech has a new director. This was an anime TV show. Can't remember when it came out, but a good amount of episodes.
It was mid-80s.
It's meant to be really good.
Yeah.
And it's directed by the director of the new It film, Stephen King's It. I didn't really know much about this news until it was kind of said. I wouldn't say I was a huge fan of anime, but I do watch them. I do watch a lot of foreign language films as well. So please tell me this film's going to be in a foreign language. I wouldn't like it being Americanized, shall we say. Unless that is what the source material is like, in which case, Americanize it as much as you want. Do you have anything to say on this one, Chris?
Yeah, so Robotech actually isn't a TV show I've ever watched. However, I know it has a really strong ongoing fan base. I think it looked a lot like Transformers in that you had all these vehicles, and I know there's probably going to be some angry Robotech fan out there that's going to message hate mail to me now saying it's nothing like Transformers. But, before this movie comes out, I will probably give a few episodes a watch. I mean, if it's an 85-episode series, they're probably going to be like 20... I think they're probably going to be like 20 minutes each, roughly, I hope. So it's something I could get through. Anime's always been something I've struggled with, though. But to your point about whether you want it Americanized or not, I think this is going to be Americanized, like it or not. They're going to want to appeal to the wider demographic. If you look at things that have come out, this year, for example, with Ghost in the Shell, they are going to whitewash this thing. This is going to be definitely Americanized. But hopefully, unlike Transformers, this can retain the spirit of the original and the story of the original and the characters of the original. It isn't out yet, so I can't comment on that movie, although apparently a lot of people can based on the success of my previous reaction videos I've done to the It films. But I did actually hear that originally James Wan was meant to be directing this thing, who did The Conjuring, Saw. He's directing the upcoming Aquaman film, but maybe his schedule was too busy and now they've done a reshuffling around. Well, clearly they have if they've changed the director around. I'm looking forward to Robotech, though. Again, I don't know anything about the TV show, but if they do take the visual look of it, then I think it could be a good film. Depends how good it is. We'll find out in a month's time, I think, for that one.
So, talking about Stephen King films, we've got The Dark Tower coming out, and it is confirmed to be 95 minutes long, which I believe is actually longer than Dunkirk, which is what we are going to be seeing tomorrow, funnily enough.
At IMAX, my first IMAX experience.
Wow. I'm looking forward to that. And this was written on Twitter. It's true. The Dark Tower movie runs a clean 95 minutes long, like the book, first book of the series, so 224 pages. It's all killer and no filler. From the trailers, I've liked it. Strangely enough, the one thing that I have a problem with in the trailers, and I know I probably won't have a problem with it in the film, but I don't really like Matthew McConaughey as a villain.
All right. I love McConaughey as a villain, though. I'm inclined to agree.
I love McConaughey, but this role just doesn't look like it suits him. It's like it looks like he's forcing every single line and overacting on every single line, and I don't know if that is how it's meant to be written or not. You can never tell with this kind of material, but from what I've seen in the trailers so far, it just looks like he's overacting on everything. And I know he does that in some films. In some films it works. For example, Wolf of Wall Street, in the one scene he's in, him with the chest, like this thing. I
was just doing that. Yeah.
Like he does that brilliantly, but that's him overacting. Whilst you see him in Dallas Buyers Club, it's a perfect performance. You cannot fault him on that. And this trailer looks like he's overacting in a bad way.
Yeah, so actually, trailer 2 I still need to do a reaction for. I haven't forgotten. I'm kind of inundated with trailers at the minute. I have some to edit after we've gone live on this video. It's what I'm getting to. Nonetheless, after seeing the first trailer that came out for this thing, and after seeing a lot of discussions and articles on Facebook about this film with fans of the books, the series of books, none of them are looking forward to this thing. They all say it's an absolute betrayal of the source material. Although, as you said, Stephen King's kind of gone on record saying that he endorses this film. It's all killer, no filler. Of course, he's going to have to say that. He's not going to verbally bitch slap the movie upon its release. I don't think there's any hype for this film, really. I haven't read the book, so I don't know how much of it is close to it or not.
I like the look of the trailer. I mean, I'm going to be possibly seeing Idris Elba at a festival, him DJing later on this year, so I'm intrigued about this film. It's one of those films where I'm going to go watch it. I'm probably going to enjoy it, but I'm probably never go back and watch it ever again. And people.
This will be the Cowboys versus Aliens of this movie.
Yeah, but I hated
this movie.
I hated Cowboys versus Aliens.
Exactly. And I think this movie is going to be absolute
I think I'm going to like this movie, but I'm going to forget it.
Oh, okay. I don't know whether I'm going to have... I mean, the gunplay looks cool. The action looks sort of well shot. But yeah, I know it's pissed off a lot of the book fans, so that's not a very good sign. Moving on to other news, Zachary Quinto, who plays Spock in the recent Star Trek films, says that Star Trek 4 is being written. I am very happy about this fact. I love the recent Star Trek films. I know a lot of people don't like Into Darkness, and believe me, if I was a diehard Star Trek fan like everyone else, I would have those strong feelings too. However, I think they're very entertaining sci-fi action movies.
They are.
And I don't see them as anything else other than that.
Funnily enough, on reevaluation, Star Trek Beyond might have been one of my favorite films of last year, purely for
it was one of my favorites.
For entertainment value alone. Like, it was one of those at the time, like, I'm pretty sure on the review we kind of said it was a good film. We didn't exactly give it an overwhelmingly good positive review, but we didn't exactly give it a bad review at the same time. We were able to point out its flaws, and we were able to say, look, like, the film serves its purpose perfectly. And the only problems I think we really had was the ending, and easily fixable. So another Star Trek film? Hell yeah, I'm on board.
Yeah, because there was this whole, I mean,
yeah.
there's a new Star Trek TV show. I know it's not tied to the films, but there's a new Star Trek TV show coming out, which apparently has been getting very bad reception from what I've saw of it.
And yet,
I don't even know if that's been released yet.
On the other hand, the new Seth MacFarlane TV show has been from. I don't know if it's been released or not yet, but people.
It's a lot like Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, people are loving the look of that.
But with like these Star Trek films, when Beyond came out, and I think it made its budget back definitely, but I think it underperformed for what they were hoping. And then there were talks whether this rebooted series would even continue. I'm glad it is, though. That I do look forward to these films. I think they're all solid films so far. I understand the problems people have with the ending of Into Darkness, how it does a retread of Wrath of Khan, but I overlooked that because I'm not a massive Star Trek fan. These are just fun action movies, as I said. It
was a 185 million budget and 350 million box office.
So and then you've got to talk about advertising as well.
So it probably made back 100 mil.
Yeah, it probably it made its budget back, but it probably was just a little bit over breaking even, which is not what they were hoping for that movie. Sticking with sci-fi news then, so Luc Besson, I mean, he's got the next, I think it's next week, isn't it? We've got Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. Has spoken out saying that Valerian 2 is already being written and he has a trilogy planned. I really wish filmmakers would wait to see how their film performs at the box office and critically before they announce a trilogy. I'm kind of indifferent to The Fifth Element. I know a lot of people like it. I know it's a big cult, has a big cult following. I never really got swept up into that, to be honest. I might give it another watch though and see if my opinions have changed on that film. But from what I've been seeing from the trailers of Valerian, it looks like a very pretty film. It doesn't look like a film I'm going to care about emotionally, though. And it says, I've seen on all the trailers, it says based on the groundbreaking graphic novel. I haven't read the graphic novel. I wasn't even aware that it was a thing until I saw the film coming out.
French, right? It was a French comic series or something like that.
I think so. I don't know. I'd have to Google that. We're so prepared for tonight. I love it.
No, the original series name was what's it called? Valerian and whatever the name of the sidekick's called, Laureline or something like that. Yeah, I don't like the cast of this film. I don't like Luc Besson as an actor. I don't like Cara Delevingne as an actress. And I was excited for this film going into it purely because of the spectacle of it. I liked Avatar for its ambitions in 3D, and it was an enjoyable 3D experience. When you watch the film at home on DVD, you realize it's a crap film. This film I want to see as a 3D spectacle, but I would never watch it for the plot. And it's more of a visual experience, a bit like Gravity. Gravity maybe had a better plot than both those films and was a bit more watchable, but you'd never take it home and watch it in your home. Like, there's no point. It's made to be seen at the cinema in the biggest screen possible in 3D or in IMAX. So you go see it in 3D and IMAX. But I saw a trailer for this. I think it was a final trailer or something like that for this film, and by God, it made me almost completely turn off the film entirely with what was in it. Really wasn't looking forward to it after that. It had three little armadillo-looking things that finish each other's sentences, but it's three of them, so they keep on butting in on each other and finishing the next sentence bit of the words.
It sounds a lot like Minions.
The entire scene, it was like you got to put this on your head, but you can't put it on your head because it's going in your butt. And it's just like, oh, fuck no. And I'm not going to lie, that was, may have been misquoting there, but that was quite close to what the actual line was. So imagine three of them talking really fast in a really kind of squeaky high-pitched voice about putting things on their heads and then putting things in your butt.
still won't be as bad as Chris Tucker in Fifth Element. I love Chris Tucker. I love the Rush Hour movies. I think he's fantastic. And he's a good serious actor as well. But by fucking God, I can't stand his character in Fifth Element. I think you mentioned there, you said Luc Besson as an actor, he's the director. But yeah, no,
is he? No, I'm thinking of whatever the actor's name is who's
Dane
playing
DeHaan.
the main character.
Dane DeHaan.
What's his name?
Dane DeHaan. Yeah.
I don't like him. I don't care what his name is. He's like the Asa Butterfield, sorry, the ass butts of the sci-fi franchise.
I think we need to move away from this news because there's a lot of talk of butts in this, with things going into butts and ass butts. We shall move on. Moving on to horror news here. Back to Stephen King with It 2. That begins filming next spring. I was actually really surprised to hear that they were splitting it into 2 films. I thought it would be called It Part 1, It Part 2, but they're doing it just like as a straight up sequel.
It first film, It. Second film, That.
But with this news, I mean, I did my reaction to it and I said that, you know, I didn't know a sequel was going to be made. I had a lot of very angry Stephen King fans messaging me saying, like, a 2-film split has been announced ages ago. Where were you with this news? What I think the story of It is about, and again, I've never read the book, I've only watched a little bit of the miniseries, is that it begins with the kids and the story there setting up with the clown and meeting Pennywise. And then it moves into them as adults, where Pennywise comes back and haunts them as adults. So I'm assuming the first film is going to be centered on the kid chapters, and then this sequel that starts filming next spring is going to be the adult story. I'm fine with that because I know that It is a huge book, to the point where they had to make it into a mini series for the TV, which I think was about 3 hours long. So in terms of a film, they're going to want to not drag things out. They're going to want to develop things more. They're going to want to establish things better. It makes sense to split it into 2 movies. So I don't have a problem with this.
We have one more piece of news before we move on to trailer talk. So we'll go through that very, very quickly. Kingsman 2, 8 posters have been released. They're all bits of text with pictures of sunglasses or a thing of Chaser of whiskey. And stuff like that, with quotes of the characters on it. Other than that, there is a trailer expected at the Comic-Con. Oh no, wait, it's already been released. It was released just before we started this episode. I have seen it, but I believe we're going to be talking about it in the Comic-Con special, so there's no point in talking about it now. So instead, let's talk about the trailers of this week with Trailer Talk. Chris, the first trailer we have written down, you have actually done a reaction on.
I've recorded a reaction earlier today. I shall be editing it as soon as we're done here. And I've also done my reaction for Jigsaw. Blade Runner 2049. So this is a film that I've always said I've been really cautiously optimistic for. Blade Runner is not a film that requires a sequel by any stretch of the imagination. But if you are going to do that sequel, you get Denis Villeneuve to direct it. You get Johan Johansson to do the soundtrack. I'm excited. And by God, this film looks incredible visually. Whether the film and the story is going to mirror that fact has yet to be seen. This new trailer kind of hints at stuff as to what's to come for the plot. The other one's been very visual and very cryptic, and whilst this one still does maintain that enigmatic quality to it, there's a lot of influences there where you get little hints as to what happened to Deckard after the events of the first Blade Runner, why he escaped, who's been chasing him, what Jared Leto's character is seeking to do, what the importance of Ryan Gosling's character is. There was a lot of elements like that, and by God, that soundtrack, that Vangelis soundtrack, it's not the actual one ripped from the original movie. It's been reorchestrated. I think it's in a different key. It sounds a bit more bassy. Whether Johan Johansson, God, it's so difficult saying that name, is going to adopt that exact same music, or he's going to do his own thing. I think
it said that the soundtrack is a homage to the original film with more elements thrown in to make it seem a bit more modern, so that time has passed on. However, the music still hints at the past, which I like the sound of. The way they worded it was phenomenal when they were talking about that. This film, oh my Lord, I have so much hype for this. I don't think there's a single film which I'm more excited about this year than Blade Runner 2049. Just everything about this film, the landscapes, the music, even the actors playing it. Jared Leto in this film looks like a menacing character, which he didn't do in Suicide Squad. We know that he is a good actor. He's won a Best Supporting Actor for Dallas Buyers Club. And this could be another great performance as a character actor. But everything's coming together. We've got Harrison Ford back. We've got Ryan Gosling off the back of La La Land. It's just, I'm clapping in excitement. This trailer just had me just like, when is it being released? Please release tomorrow. Oh, I have to wait a bit longer. Okay, it's fine. I'll wait. Anyway, let's move on to the next trailer, The Disaster Artist. Chris, do you know much about the film The Room?
I know a lot about The Room. I have seen many reviews on The Room, including Nostalgia Critics review, where I have never seen it.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Its reputation precedes itself. I basically know all of the bits from it, but I've never seen the movie.
Chris, you don't know anything about The Room until you've seen it. You can see people review it. You can see clips from the film, but you have not experienced it unless you sit down and you watch the film. Because by Lord, the stuff that they miss out is as bad as the stuff that is famous for being kept in. And I can't remember what the name of the book is that was written for this film. It may have even been called The Disaster Artist. But yeah, this trailer looks good. It's another Seth Rogen, James Franco film. With Dave Franco also going in there as well. And knowing how funny the film The Room is, for notoriously being one of the, if not the worst film of all time, the behind the scenes of it might just be even better. Especially seen in this trailer with the 70+ takes on what could be the most simple line for the actor, director, editor. He did everything for that film, Tommy Wiseau. And I think Franco's got this brilliantly. And it's I've heard news going into this film that he really went deep into the character, and he actually spent a couple of months kind of studying it and trying to get the accent right and stuff like that. And we don't really see that in the trailer. But apparently from the other footage from the film, which we haven't seen, obviously, but people have been shown, they're saying that he completely loses himself in Tommy Wiseau. So I'm really looking forward to it.
It's going to be fun to see how Wiseau himself takes this film, because if anyone says anything bad about the film, I mean, Nostalgia Critics review, he got that taken down. Nostalgia Critic, who's massive on the internet and that website.
Recently, I have to say, because he tours the film around the US, and I think he knows now that that film is trash. He knows it is.
Well, now he says that it was always intended to be a comedy. He's gone with that line of thought now, which it clearly never was.
It's his own film, and it's the thing that's kind of kept his money rolling in, and it's the thing that has made his career so famous. And because of that, I feel like he respects any form of notoriety from that film. So I think he's aware that people mock it. He has to be. He's aware that people watch it for an entertainment value of laughing at it, not with it. And because of that, I feel like he is coming around to it. So I don't think he would have, I mean, he would have sued them, obviously, if he knew that, like, if he was completely against them mocking his film and stuff like that. The fact that he hasn't done that makes me think that he is quite calm about it, and maybe even influenced the film slightly. Maybe they spoke to him trying to get into the role. Who knows? I need to read up on that.
This is one I'd like to do a reaction for. Actually, most of the trailers that you're going to talk about in a minute, like The Snowman, The Shape of Water, Leatherface, these are ones that I will do a reaction for. As I said, it takes me ages to get reactions out, so they will be coming out all next week. But yeah, The Snowman. And I've seen that Michael Fassbender's attached to this one, so give me the rundown on The Snowman. Something tells me it's not going to be like the Michael Keaton, Jack Frost film.
Definitely not. This is a thriller about a killer who dresses his victims as snowman. So he covers them in snow after he's killed them. And that's his that's his mark. So that's his thing that he leaves at the scene of the crime. He always turns them into a snowman afterwards. It's meant to be a thriller, and in this kind of similar style of Zodiac, I'd say. So they're always hunting down the killer, trying to find him. He's always one step ahead. You may not know who the killer is at the end of the film. That kind of dealio. So I'm excited-ish about it. It looked entertaining. It's Michael Fassbender, so I'll probably watch it. It's a thriller. It's a crime thriller. What else can I say about it?
Is it a tongue-in-cheek style? Because I mean,
Definitely not. It's a
the
serious thriller.
thumbnail for this looks hilarious, but okay.
It's no. The thumbnail is actually a dead body, as you'll see in the trailer. It's a person who's been killed and has had that put on their face.
Okay. The Shape of Water, then. So Guillermo del Toro's new movie. Again, reaction will be following for this one. I've seen the creature design though on the thumbnail. That's just staple of Guillermo del Toro's filmmaking when he's not having giant mechs punching each other. Give me the rundown on The Shape of Water, then.
This film looks like a mixture between the game BioShock, the film stylings of Amelie, and Pan's Labyrinth. And it might be the most beautiful trailer of this week, as far as like the film itself. It looks to be about a mute, so she's only able to speak in sign language. She can't speak, but she can hear. And her communications whilst working in this laboratory. And in the laboratory, they're doing experiments on this animal creature they found. And she gains a connection with it because the creature doesn't understand that she has faults in her. So she obviously can't speak, but she's able to sign. The creature's able to slowly kind of grasp the sign and stuff like that, or able to at least understand the communications or understand the fact that she's communicating differently. And the creature doesn't see that as a disability, sees it as more of a kind of a different way of living. And it's quite a nice message. It isn't pushed onto you. And with the kind of like noir, steampunky stylings of BioShock with the cinematography of Amelie, it looks like a very good film.
Nice. I do love Guillermo del Toro.
One to possibly watch for the Oscars, maybe.
You think?
I think so.
You know, it would be nice for Guillermo del Toro to get something because he's just one of the most unluckiest directors I've ever known. It seems like every time he's attached to a project, it just gets swept under the rug from him. Like The Hobbit, for example, he was meant to be directing that. He left that project. In the video game realm, he was meant to be doing PT with Hideo Kojima. That went tits up, so it's nice that he's actually got a movie coming out for a change. RoboDoc, then. So I haven't seen this, and RoboCop is one of my favorite movies from the 80s. Now I'm very excited to see this documentary, but apparently you're not too keen on it.
No. I like RoboCop as a film, but this documentary looks very boring. It looks like a DVD extra kind of documentary. It looks like something that could very easily be tacked onto the DVD if it came out today. I really see no point in watching this. I genuinely think that if there is a DVD commentary out there, it's probably going to be more entertaining than this.
Or even just watch RoboCop again. That would be
just watch RoboCop again. You don't really need to see the making of it.
Although the making of it is, you know, like the makeup they did on it. Oh my god! Like, and the effects, like.
Okay, that's cool. If they have a DVD featurette of that, then go see that instead of seeing this documentary, I reckon. I just didn't connect with the trailer at all, not even slightly. Same with Alpha. Alpha's this weird film where the trailer starts off as the Revenant, and then it becomes Life of Pi, but instead of it being a tiger, it's a dog. And then it becomes Ice Age, full on like survival with your pet best friend kind of deal, against like wild dogs and stuff like that. The score sounds nice. The cinematography looks pretty tacky, and the acting looks pretty tacky. But it has wayfinding in the whole Moana thing, so it'll draw in a crowd from that.
So it's like an amalgamation of at least 2 animated films that I like, but apparently is terrible. I'm going to have to give the trailer a watch for that. I won't do a reaction to that one, but I'll definitely give it a watch. I'm really behind with trailers.
The score sounds nice, as far as everything is concerned. I have not seen the Leatherface trailer.
I shall be watching that. I've seen some of the pictures that were released for it. I think it's going to be like a director TV one. It might. I'm thinking it's getting a short theatrical release, but mostly it's going to be on download platforms. I've seen the thumbnail though. Apparently, it's incredibly gory, as you would expect from a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Although the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre actually wasn't that gory. I think it had like a tablespoon of blood in the entire film. The point is, I really don't like the look of the new Leatherface based on the thumbnail, but I will be doing a reaction for this at some point next week. The one last trailer we need to talk about is Wind River, starring Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen. I haven't seen this one, so passing back to you, Tate, for this one.
An exciting one to end on. This was directed by the same person, written by the same person who wrote for Sicario and Hell or High Water. I haven't seen Hell or High Water, but it is up there on the list of films that I definitely need to see after the suggestion from last year.
Yes, you do.
I loved Sicario. Sicario was a brilliant film. And this stars Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen in a snowy landscape and dealing with the death in a community of what looks like Native Americans. So it's that kind of thriller mystery hunter thing, but once again, it looks exciting. There's a lot of chases on snowmobiles. Jeremy Renner with a sniper rifle, and it looks a bit like Fargo, but a lot more serious. Take all the comedy out of Fargo and have it as a full-on mystery thriller, like Prisoners style. And this is what you get. This is another one to possibly watch for the Oscars.
Awesome. So that brings us to the end of trailer talk. The last couple of sections now, we're going to go into box office breakdown. I'm going to go through this really quickly. So our main news for this week, essentially, is that Wolf of the Planet of the Apes has debuted at #1 at the box office with a $56 million opening, 113 million worldwide. Still awaiting a China release for that one, which was apparently massive for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which you have actually seen now.
Yes,
and I believe. And you've seen War as well, I think, haven't you, as well?
Yeah,
we talked about it. We talked about it.
Yes, we did.
We probably won't be able to go into...
All I'll say is I enjoyed both, but that is not how avalanches work.
Let's leave it there. Let's not get into spoilers for that one. It will make money nearer to, apparently, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, more so than Dawn. The studio released it at a bad time, though. And probably should have released it in August, because there really isn't anything out in August. July has been a packed month with some very high hits.
It's still top box office, but not by much, shall we say.
Well, it dethroned Spider-Man, which I think is what George was really happy about when he wrote this plan.
Spider-Man I just want to say the Spider-Man film wasn't that bad.
Yes, it was.
You guys are being way too harsh on it.
Yes, it was. No, I'm not. We were being perfectly fine with that movie. That film was terrible. I know a lot of people like that movie. They clearly saw a different movie to me. It was the Marvel Machine. It wasn't a Spider-Man film. Anyway. Spider-Man Homecoming has dropped 60% to 48 million, and it's now #2 at the box office. It's made 220 million domestic, 460 worldwide. It will struggle to outgross the Sam Raimi trilogy, but will probably overtake both of the Amazing Spider-Man movies during its theatrical run, which I'm going to have to give those two movies a watch again. When I did my review for Homecoming and I was fresh off that film, I said that Homecoming was probably the worst Spider-Man movie. I will give Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 a rewatch at some point on a night I particularly hate myself, and then I'll reevaluate where I rank the Spider-Man films.
At #3 in the box office, we have Despicable Me 3 with 19 million this week. I don't know when, but it managed to somehow get to 630 million worldwide, which is sixth highest grossing film of the year, completely under the radar, although that was kind of expected. It's Despicable Minions 3. So, yeah, that film, we somehow avoided it.
We did.
To be honest,
we avoided Despicable Me 2 as well.
I haven't seen like Minions posted everywhere recently, which is good, I guess. I mean, this film has actually lost influence because I believe Minions, as far as a movie is concerned, passed 1 billion, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. Kids love those little yellow bastards. So I don't think they're going anywhere.
Minions isn't in the title, I don't think this film made as much money.
Maybe. I need to see how much Despicable Me 2 made. I think that's made a lot more than 3 did. Maybe it's just the law of diminishing returns. I'm sure we'll get a Minions 2 at some point.
Oh, I believe they planned it.
Yeah, Number 4 in the box office this week is Baby Driver with 8 million. It has made 99 million worldwide from a $35 million budget and has now become Edgar Wright's highest grossing film.
That will get to 100 mil.
It will. And I know that a sequel's been talked about. We've talked about that, though. I really don't want him.
Edgar Wright has actually said in the past the only sequel he would ever do a film to is Hot Fuzz. And he said even that is at a stretch. So he doesn't like doing sequels. He wants to bring out original film ideas, and that is good for him because not many people do that nowadays.
I think word of mouth's really carried this one and helped propel it to 100 million or 99 million. It'll make 100 million. People on Facebook I've seen have been going to see it multiple times, commenting on the soundtrack. People love this movie, and I love this movie as well. It's my favorite Edgar Wright movie that he's made. And drop into number 6 at the box office. I don't know what happened to 5, but drop into 6. We have Wonder Woman. It's made 770 million worldwide. It's the highest grossing DC extended universe film, domestic film, sorry. But it won't even catch up with Batman v Superman internationally.
Which is
not
a shame.
sure how that. It's domestic, isn't it? Not
domestic
international.
And international, yeah.
Well, considering that Wonder Woman is, I won't say like a new character because she's not a new character at all. She's been around for a long time, but first big screen adaptation, that's fantastic to hit 770 million worldwide. Batman v Superman, that had the title of Batman and Superman. And I think for the most part, it was marketed fairly well, which made it out to be a film that it completely wasn't. But that will conclude our box office breakdown. The very final section now is weekend preview. It's going to be Dunkirk versus Valerian for number 1, and 3 guesses as to what's going to get number 1. Dunkirk.
Can I go first? First?
Yeah, you may.
Apes has a brilliant second weekend and beats both of them.
Oh, can you imagine? I'd actually be fine with that because Apes is fucking phenomenal. It's my film of the year.
And that's not actually far. That isn't a far-fetched statement as well. 56 million opening weekend. A lot of people maybe even saying like, we want to see this film maybe. Awaiting China release as well. So that will pump up the numbers.
I don't know when it's getting released in China, though. It might still be a few months away. I'll have to check that. But Dunkirk is expected to debut between 35 to 45 million. One Directioners could push it over to 50 million. You can definitely tell that George wrote this thing. Interstellar debuted with 48 million. For comparison, most money will come from abroad and a lot from IMAX. Which will definitely be coming from us for the first time that we're seeing this movie anyway. I'm sure this is, if we like it. I mean, I've seen very divisive reviews for this film so far. I think I'm still going to like it though, and especially consider it's going to be my first IMAX experience. Really looking forward to that. We're actually seeing that tomorrow, so expect a review for Dunkirk on Sunday. I think we've okayed for the review for that one. And Valerian apparently is predicted to open between a 17 to 20 mil. Don't quite believe that. Some people think it might be higher. I think that 3D, it'll have the Avatar effect, I think, for at least the opening weekend. For example, I've seen the trailers and visually it looks stunning, and I never go to 3D unless it's a, like a 3D only rescreening of something
in 3D.
Judging by the trailer, I think that this is what the film's made for, which you shouldn't have to go and see, but I've seen the trailer in 3D and 2D, and it does look incredible in 3D, so I will be seeing it that. That brings us to the end of our news show. So that caps everything off. Be sure to comment, subscribe, let us know what you thought of the movie news this week. What are you looking forward to? What do you think is going to get number 1? Anything movie related, pretty much. I mean, this is a pretty broad topic when we do the news. Anything you like, please do drop us a comment. In terms of what's coming up on the channel, as I said, we'll be having our Dunkirk review on Sunday. We'll have a very special thoughts on film episode probably tomorrow. I'm going to be there at your place for that, so we're going to do a joint one for that. There'll be more trailer reactions from me. There have been a whole lot of trailers come out. There's going to be a whole lot more. I'm going to do my best to keep on top of them this week, so look out for those. Comment, share, like, all that good stuff. And until the next video, we'll see you guys next time. Also, don't forget Comic-Con. Comic-Con news will be on Monday. Look out for that. Check links in the description for Facebook and Twitter for times when we go live for that. That'll do it until the next video. We'll see you guys next time.